Well, you are the lights of the world, whether you want to be or not. You know, that really is our only function. To be the light here, to be love. And when we remember that we're the light, we're full of delight. It's true. And when we remember we are the love, we see everyone and everything with forgiving eyes that behold only the love within everything. You know what's fun and funny to me is the whole sin error thing. You know how a lot of the traditional church talks about sin and evil and darkness and all of that. And there's a way in which the mind actually believes in that stuck place. And so when we practice forgiveness, we think about somehow saying, hey, it's okay, and excusing our sinfulness, or their sinfulness, or the world's sinfulness, or the world's darkness and evil. But what if it's just a bunch of experimentation? Sometimes we call them errors. And that really all we're here doing is correcting. And you can't correct anybody else because you have no idea what's going on for them or what that error might be. So we can actually only correct ourselves. So what is the truth? There's a line from the Course that says, truth, how do you say that, Robert? You said it yesterday. Something errors that you want. See, I was going to say it. Truth cannot deal with errors that you want. Thank you very much, Squeaky. You got squeakier. You got squeakier, by the way. He wasn't squeaky on the way down here from Lake County, but yes. So truth cannot deal with errors that you want. What that means is if you want to believe that you're sinful or somebody else is wrong or bad, then you're going to believe it because truth can't enter into a mind that is certain that what you believe is the truth for you. So for me, forgiveness is an interesting tool. It's an interesting tool to make everything whole and holy. It's an interesting tool to stop the, I'm going to call it the arrogance that we have in thinking that they're wrong and I'm right. And sometimes I might even want to fight about it. So what if we drop all the idea and ideals that anything's wrong and some things are just learning opportunities or experiences that we ourselves are exploring and needing to correct or heal in ourselves? So the world is busy teaching us right from wrong. You do know that, right? Right from birth. Right. See, there's that right from birth. Right from birth, we're being taught right from wrong. We're being smacked and scolded and told yes or no, and that's good and that's bad and all this stuff. But what if none of us really have a clue? That does make me laugh sometimes. What if none of us have a clue? I don't know what you're learning. You don't know what I'm learning. I don't know what you're perceiving. You don't know what I'm perceiving. And so this whole thing that we're doing when we're talking and communicating is a lot about getting clear ourselves. Because the other person is usually just interpreting through their own right-wrongness or their own ideas and ideals about what they're hearing. But they don't really know what's going on inside me. And I don't know what's really going on inside you. So maybe it really is this love stuff that's making the difference here. That if we just surrender to love, no matter what, maybe everything heals and remains in its holy state. So Robert mentioned healing. I'm going to say unhealth for right now, or dis-ease, lack of peace. And then unhealthy. And then we go to forgiving, all those thoughts about that. We go to health, and then we go to wholeness or well-being, and then we go to holiness. And so how are you and I going to know when we really have done our own holy intrinsic work. And right now I'm going to talk about forgiveness probably from a couple of different viewpoints, because quite honestly, each one of us has their own definition of forgiveness. Do you know that? Each one of us sees forgiveness very differently from each other. Very differently. There's a traditional church view, and again, it's not just one, but I'm going to comment on one, which basically is, this is Betty Lou's sarcastic interpretation, I in my righteousness know what's wrong with you over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrogantly forgive you for what you screwed up. Well, you know what I'm talking about, right? Thank you for laughing. Because it's silly. Because I don't have a clue. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know what your life journey is. I don't know how many mistakes you need to make and how many lifetimes before you learn what it is that you came to learn or do what you came to do. I don't know. So a lot of forgiveness is, I forgive myself for thinking I know anything. So now I'm going to step into sort of another version of that, which is that nothing's wrong and nothing needs to be forgiven. That's another version, by the way, from another particular point of view. In fact, Robert alluded to it when he was speaking up here, that there's nothing to be forgiven, except perhaps my judgment that something needs to be forgiven. That everything isn't on purpose, that there are no accidents, that all of us are simply here being, doing, having, sharing, knowing, whatever it is we're called to know. So there really isn't any need to forgive anything. Now I'm going to share another version that I heard this morning, which is, what if that word is forgivenness? That it's already all been forgiven. That we are all forgiven. And all we're doing is applying our forgiveness, the fact that we're already forgiven, to everyone and everything. It's all already undone. You sort of get what I'm saying? So it's not the forgiving process, it's recognizing that it's all forgiven, always has been, always will be. That there's nothing to do. Absolutely nothing to do or undo. Okay, there are a few other ways too. So this was in a little conversation we had, I think, on the way back from Oregon. And that is that there is proactive forgiving and there is retroactive forgiving. Kind of interesting, huh? That's Robert's idea, you know, he's thinking up there. So proactive is basically, I'm going to forgive everyone and everything for all time, including myself, all the time. So I don't have anything going on up here that I have to work on, because it's all clean. My mind is clean, I'm clean, my heart is clean, so I'm just a happy girl all the time. Feeling at peace with everything and everyone. Then there's retroactive forgiving. And that's the kind most of us think about, oh, do I have to, Betty Lou? I don't want to. You know, which is I'm upset or I'm hurt or it's gone on too long or I don't know why I have to, what good is it going to do? And so that is the kind of forgiving which basically says I'm willing to erase my thoughts, my feelings, my perceptions, and come to a place of love. I'm going to love no matter what. I'm going to love no matter what. So just stop and look at where you are in this process of forgiving and forgiveness. The next part of this is that forgiveness is healing. So what would cause us to believe that we or you or anyone anywhere is not healed, not whole, not holy? It's the body. Living in a body, living in this world, causes us to look at form, the form of things, the diagnosis, the prediction, the prognostication, the politics, the right-wrongness. So what we're busy doing with this healing and holiness stuff from my standpoint, because I've been working on it mostly since I met Robert. Sorry. There's a whole story about that, but anyway, it's about the body. Robert taught me about having a body and so on. So, yeah, so it's about the body and understanding or becoming forgiving of my thoughts, my judgments about my body. And I guess what I have learned about this healing and holiness stuff, also Course in Miracles, is that I ain't got no body. And what am I going to do without a body? Who am I going to be without a body? Who am I really? Well, I could name myself Betty Lou, and I could say that I am, this woman who's done these things in her life and knows this stuff and all that. Or I could say, I'm not any of that. That I'm healed, whole, and holy. The one Son of what we call God. And I am one with you as that one Son of God. And there's nothing here for us to forgive. We're only here to love. So why do we play these games of unloving or being sick or feeling guilty, which, by the way, in my way of perceiving, because remember, I don't know how you perceive. You don't know how I perceive. My way of perceiving, I believe that all sickness, dis-ease, comes from guilt. And what is that guilt? Well, it's forgetting who I am. Forgetting my source. Forgetting the love I am. The love I always have been and always will be. The love that I'm here to share with every breath I breathe. And then we have this wonderful new teacher show up today, and thank you for being my teacher. You'll know who you are. We had a discussion early this morning, and please come to early morning. 8:30 is a beautiful, beautiful time. Always different and always deeply meaningful to me and to the people who are there. And since all of us are teachers, this new teacher came. And what she reminded me of is she reminded me of grace, which is the state of ultimate unconditional love and forgiveness. She reminded me of devotion. Am I devoted really to, I don't know, coming up here and talking? Am I devoted to cooking a good meal for my grandkids? What am I devoted to? I'm devoted to be the love I'm created to be. And I need to trust that you are too. Whether we remember it or not, is every action I take, every word I speak, really devoted to love? And if it is, have I not forgiven my crazy, silly forgetfulness, my judging mind, my feeling separate from Source, from God? Isn't that why I'm here, to forgive all that and reclaim that I'm a gift of love? There's nothing else that really matters. So whether I'm making announcements, or I'm lighting a candle, or I'm coming to church, or I'm not, whether I'm talking on the phone, whether I'm sharing with a grandchild, whether I'm riding down here with Robert in the car, everything I am is about love. And when I forget, I just need to forgive myself and wash it away. I need to remember again. Isn't that true about you too? Isn't that true that when you remember why you're here, that suddenly everything begins to lift? There's a quality of contentment or peace, or even kind of a delightful little innocence, happiness, openness, wonder, curiosity, and a profound sense of safety. Because you see, when I am judging myself or anyone, I don't feel very safe, and I don't feel very happy, and I definitely feel discontent. And sometimes it makes me feel sick in my belly or sick in my head. So there must be, in this whole idea, this whole gift of forgiveness, an option and an opportunity for us to change not only our minds, but our bodies, and our relationships, and our finances, and the world in which we live. I often suggest that people try it for 30 days. That they just try a package. I call it 30 days to enlightenment, or 30 days to healing, or 30 days to see things differently. And that package starts essentially with forgiving absolutely everything, without even knowing what that's about. Because I don't think we really have a clue about what forgiveness is. Like I said, all of us see it differently, all of us experience it differently. I just think we need to start using it. Because it's a tool, it's free, costs nothing. So the game is, I forgive, and by the way, I like to write, because then we engage not only our sight with what we see, and our sound because we say it out loud, but our kinesthetic reactions because we're actually writing it. I forgive, and then whatever comes to mind gets written afterwards. And I don't have to stop and think about it. I don't have to feel anything. I don't have to do anything other than that. And then I write another I forgive, and another I forgive, and another I forgive, 30 times each day. And then, by the way, there's another sweet secret to it, because sometimes we empty ourselves out. We get pretty squeaky clean. It's like taking a spiritual shower, this forgiveness business. Cleaning out our minds. It really is. And then you write, I choose. Well, what do you choose? Because you have free will. You get to choose anything you want. Well, I choose to be whole. I choose to be happy. I choose to be me. I choose to be love in the world. And at the end of the day, you write, I appreciate and I'm grateful. And I give thanks. 30 times each of these. By the way, you won't lose anything except a little time and a little pencil. I mean, you're not going to lose much. And you might find that there actually is a tool you can use to bring wholeness back into your life when you thought it was gone. To bring peace back to your mind when you haven't remembered it or felt it in a long while. And it might bring love back into your words and your thoughts and your relationships. And a sense of safety, which means no fear, no worry, no concern, no upset or anger, no pain or sorrow. This gift is free. And I'll tell on me a little bit here. But of course I've been thinking, feeling about not being here so often with this family, my family, our family. And I love you. And when it's time, I will be leaving, and so will you. And what do we do to prepare for our leaving? We forgive. We forgive everyone and everything for all time, including ourselves. We hold no barriers to love. We open ourselves to love. We allow ourselves to be free. And we trust the loving process. Forgiveness is healing.